You put snot on the ball?
Haven't got an arm like yours. I gotta put anything on it I can find. Someday you will too.
It's Polar Opposites with Craig Moffitt. I mean, this guy's a Mets fan. And Matt Stevens. And this guy's a Yankees fan?
They make terrific pair. They went together like lamb and tuna fish.
Lamb and tuna fish?
Polar Opposites. Only on Sports on the Go One Radio Network.
Right now, on the phone with us is Colin Stephenson. He's a Rangers beat writer for Newsday. Hey, Colin, man, this is Craig Moffitt and Matt Stevens. Thank you for taking the time for coming on our show tonight.
Fellows, it's my pleasure to do it. What's going on? What do you got going on? A lot of stuff in Islandland today, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we were actually thinking about we just talked about Premier League soccer, if that's okay.
Yeah, we saw one of your tweets.
Yeah, you know.
I'm having the same problem, Colin. I'm having the same problem.
Matt's a big Arsenal guy. He's a huge Arsenal guy.
I just bought tickets for to go see Liverpool and Man City at MetLife. So
that'll be good.
My son.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. Yep.
That'll be good. Well, to the Rangers. Why don't we talk about the Rangers? I guess since we have you on, we'll do the soccer the next time. Okay.
So what I love about this is it's a big island. It's a big Islander day, and we're kicking off with a Ranger guy.
Yeah, that's right. That's how we do it, though. We like to buck trends. So I've been reading a lot about the new coach for the Rangers, and I don't know how much you've been in contact with the players since it's all happened because they weren't around and whatnot. But have you is the general feeling amongst all the players that they are happy with this particular signing?
Absolutely, no question about it. I mean, half of those guys. Not half of them, literally, but a lot of them know him anyway because a lot of the Ranger guys, as it happens, are Boston guys. They either from Boston or they went to school in the Boston area, and they all know him from one way or another. As you know, Kevin Shattenkirk, I think, played for him as an assistant there, and Kevin Hayes was recruited by him when he was an assistant there. He ended up going to BC instead of BU, so I was giving Hayes a little grief about that. I'm like, I guess you didn't like him all that much. But no, it's a good thing. Like there's a sense of familiarity there, and the Rangers are going to be young. They think of themselves as young. A lot of them are college guys, and I think there's, it's just. They're all pumped. I mean, at the end with Vigneault, and Vigneault was there for 5 years.
Right.
He did a good job with the team for a time. Got him to a Stanley Cup final. He was good for a team, for when he came in. And but as happens, he got stale, and it was time for him to go. So I think it was a breath of fresh air, and the fact that he's different, is kind of exciting.
Right.
Colin, the Rangers have 3 first-round picks this year in the draft in a few weeks. Do you see them at the end of the day drafting 3 young players, or do you see them kind of packaging some of those picks to maybe move up, or maybe get like a younger, NHL player, like current NHL player? I'm not really sure who's going to be on the trade block come draft time, but do you just see them keep going with the rebuild and just drafting 3 young players right off the bat, or do you see them kind of moving up?
No. I think three players in the first round, I think, is more than they need. I think you use, those picks become chips. But I think they're open to doing any number of things. I mean, they, I think, would like to move up. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So you just hired this guy from BU. He's got a player that played for him this season who's coming out in the draft. That would be, Brady Tkachuk. Who is, a consensus top 10 pick, and really probably more like a top 5 pick, or close to a top 5 pick, and they have the 9th pick. So I can see them really doing all they can do, or trying to do whatever they can do to get high enough where they can take Brady Tkachuk, just to give Quinn a new. A guy on his team that he had last year, and he's a good player. Not like just to have a kid from the U, just to have a kid from the U. I mean, this is as I said, consensus top 10 at least, and more than likely top 5. So I can see them doing the best they can to try and move up get into that top 5 and see if they can get Kachuk. And if not, I mean, there are guys out there that are on the market. I mean, there's big names that are available. I mean, Ottawa. I mean, the word on the street is that Erik Karlsson is, their captain is on the block. Ottawa has the 4th pick, so I mean, I could see them, talking to Ottawa and see if they can do something. And so yeah, I mean, they're not going to get into the top 3, I would think, but anywhere from 4 on down, I think they're going to try and see if they can get in there. Maybe they get Kachuk. Maybe with Ottawa, you can do something big. I mean, if Erik Karlsson really is available, and maybe you give him some bodies back, and who knows? I mean, there's there's all kinds of possibilities out there when you have that many first round picks. But and one possibility certainly would be to use them all, but I doubt it.
Now, Lundqvist is still the starter, but he is, I would say, on the other side of his career at this point. Do you think this is the year, or do you think they go maybe another year or two before they start sort incorporating somebody who might be considered his replacement?
No. I think so. So the consensus among people who follow the team and know, and I'm still learning the team, by the way, because I started late on the team. But from what from people that I talked to, they have a guy in Russia who they drafted a couple of years ago,
okay.
And he's under contract for one more year in Russia. He's like 21 or 22. So I think the plan is, Lundqvist for this year, and then hopefully, get that guy over here next year and see what happens then. Now, so, you do need a backup goalie, right? So they had Andrei Pavelek, who was the backup goalie this year. He's a free agent now. His contract is up. And then they had the kid, Alexander Gorgiev, who's also a Russian, who actually signed with the team last year as a free agent. He actually made the team on a tryout, and he was in Hartford for most of the year. When Pavlik got hurt, he came up, played very, very well. So I think they like him quite a bit, and so they have to decide whether they can go with a 22-year-old backup or whether they need to find another veteran to serve that role. But I think the plan overall, and these things always have to be flexible because injuries and whatever. But
sure.
I think the plan is for Lundqvist to be the man again this year, and then maybe next year. So he's 36 now. He'll be 37 at the end of next season, and then you can look at it.
Gotcha.
Colin, do you see the Rangers? I mean, last year the Rangers were kind of quiet, and all of a sudden they signed Shattenkirk. Do you see them again, kind of pulling a big time, maybe signing in the offseason? Like I said, I know the plan is basically just to kind of get younger and maybe develop younger players, but they always seem to be active in free agency regardless. Do you see that happening?
No, I do, actually, because if you listen to Jeff Gordon very closely, I mean, what he has said to us is, look, we want to be young, but you can't be too young, right? So you can't have all young guys. So they're going to sign some free agents. But the question is, what level free agent, right? So, there was talk early on that they might go after Ilya Kovalchuk. And that would make some sense on some level because Kovalchuk is familiar with the area. He played in New Jersey, and the Garden, has a lure for a lot of these types of guys. But at the same time, he's 35 years old. He just spent 5 years in Russia. He's not coming back here to play on a rebuilding team or to be that guy on a rebuilding team. He's probably coming back to see if he can hook on with a team that, that has a chance to win it all. So I'm a little skeptical of that happening, even though it was reported that they had basically come to an agreement. He's since changed his agent, Kovalchuk has. So I don't know if that's going to be the guy. There are other guys. I mean, I'm watching John Carlson every other night play for Washington, and he would be a guy who would absolutely fit what they need. But I also find it hard to believe that Washington would, not re-sign him. So there are guys out there that they could go after and who would be a big splash. But I just don't know. I mean, if you get Shattenkirk back, right? I mean, he's coming off a knee injury, and if he comes back and he's healthy, and you've got a couple of young defense prospects that you acquired in trades and stuff. I mean, they got a guy from Boston that everybody says is going to be Ryan Lindgren. So everybody says this guy is a real serious prospect, and so you have a guy that you got in the trade with Tampa with JT Miller and Ryan McDonough, Libor Hayek, who is playing junior hockey and just finished up. So they have some guys that I think they're going to want to give a long look to. I don't know that certainly they're not all going to make the team. I don't know which of them will make the team, but they have a lot of guys that they want to give a look to. So you have to balance it. Yes, you need some veterans, but you don't want to have so many veterans that there's no space for some of these young guys.
Now, you said Kovalchuk just changed his agent. Is his agent going to be able to get him out from under the yoke of Vladimir Putin so he can come back?
Yeah, he's a free agent. He's out of contract. So he's good to go, and he has a home here. Now the issue is we talked about the Islanders. Of course, Kovalchuk played for the Devils. He signed with Lou Lamoriello when Lamoriello was the GM there. He signed the big contract with Lou, and from what I've read, and I know this a little bit, but Lou's pretty close to the best guy, but everybody says that they get along, and they can see Kovalchuk going to the Islanders more so because Lamoriello is there now, and it would make a ton of sense if let's say Tavares resigns with them, then Kovalchuk can go there, and they can play together and all that kind of stuff. It might also be an incentive to Tavares that, hey, we're going to go get this guy. So I could see that making a little bit more sense than the Rangers, but you can never cross the Rangers off in a situation like that, because anybody who's played for either the Devils or the Islanders, they know that they're second banana in this market, and the Rangers are, the top banana. So, you never can write them off and just, and just think that that's never going to happen.
We're talking to Colin Stephenson, Rangers beat writer for Newsday. Colin, I'm going to take one of your tweets, if that's okay. We're going to jump off hockey for a minute, because Matt brought this up to me before we came in the studio, and you had a tweet today or a couple of days ago that just said, I think I want to see The Incredibles 2. My kids don't want to. Can I go without them?
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is absolutely yes.
Now, you don't need our blessing, but, I mean, we just want you to know that there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Any Pixar film you are allowed to see by yourself. That's the rule.
The funny thing is, of course, there's so many years between the original and the sequel that my kids have actually grown up, So obviously I could take them when they were younger. And now they're like, not so much, we did the same thing with Toy Story, Story 3, when we saw that one, I took, I have three sons, and I took one of them, and I was crying like a baby coming out of there, and he's like, yeah, whatever,
Oh, the third Toy Story is gut-wrenching.
Oh, yeah.
The third Toy Story is, if you're not crying at the end of the third Toy Story, you might be a sociopath.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I'm one of these guys that, I do like the superhero genre and all that kind of stuff too. So I mean, it's a neat, and I like the first one. The first one was really good. So I'm hoping that the second one's good too.
It's a great movie. As long as Edna Moles is in there, we're good.
Yeah, right.
She's the best. Colin, just one more from me. With all, and this is sort of about hockey, but in a roundabout way, with all the stuff that's happening with the president and the Philadelphia Eagles and the visit to the White House, are you hearing anything about that in the hockey world? Like, if Vegas or the Capitals win, is there going to be any's? Are they just going to go? Is this going to just be, we're just going to go and that's going to be it? Or have you heard any rumblings that maybe this is going to start filtering into other sports with the way that maybe the Eagles feel like they might have been treated through this whole thing?
I was wondering about that today, as a matter of fact. Now, you got to remember that last year, the Warriors got uninvited or disinvited, and the Penguins went.
Right.
They went to the White House, and Marc-Andre Fleury was was on the Penguins at the time. So I would think that Vegas would surely go. The one that I would find interesting, and I don't know, I haven't heard anything
Sure.
To the contrary, but I would think Washington, that would be a really interesting one because obviously that's a political town.
Exactly.
It's right there. They wouldn't have to go very far, so that would be the one that would be interesting. And how they would, manage that. I'm curious to see if they do win. But, the other thing that I was thinking, too, is that, Washington's up 3-1, and it's not like they've never blown a 3-1 series lead before, so, we'll have to wait.
Yes, there is always that. Absolutely.
5 times they've blown a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to be a hater, but, you can't until they put it away,
Well, yesterday we were watching the game. We were doing the show. We were watching the game, and we saw Vegas started to make a little bit of a comeback. And for a split second, Matt and I thought, like, what if it's possible that the Vegas comes back from 4-0 and ties it? And then it just kind of, but then all of a sudden, then the Capitals just kind of put it away, like right after.
Yeah, but you can see it already, right? I mean, Caps is going to go to Vegas and they're going to think, we're up 3-1, and the Caps won't show up, and Vegas wins, and then let's say Vegas goes up 1-0, and Fleury makes a big save in Game 6. Now all of a sudden, get a little nervous, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. If it ever got to Game 7, they would be, it'd be like in 2 weeks you'd have a diamond. That's how tight they'd be.
Yeah. If it gets to Game 7, I got to think Vegas is going to win. So, I think the Caps got to, I doubt that they'll close it out in 5, but I think if they really want to do this, then they should probably just do it in Game 5 and don't even worry about it coming back home or anything like that, man. Just get it done now.
Agreed.
Getting back to the coach for a minute for the Rangers, the one thing I keep hearing from a lot of the players is that he preaches accountability and everything. Was Vino really that bad with that? Because I never really got that sense just from the fact of him pulling Lundqvist half the time. And, not to say I don't remember him calling out players specifically, but I feel like he did it a couple of times. Was that really a major issue among the Ranger players?
I think what it is, it's a function of when they transitioned from being a veteran team to being a younger team, it sort of showed its head, right? So, the last couple months, after that trade deadline makeover, if you will, they were playing with a minor league defense for the most part. So you got to give them some slack on that. But they struggled defensively, and he left a lot of stuff up to the goalies to kind of save them, and they didn't really play very good defense. They didn't have a system by which they emphasized defense. And so that ties into accountability because when you have a system where you're emphasizing defense and you require players to be defensively responsible, then when they don't do it, you have to hold them accountable. When you don't require players to be as defensively responsible, it's a lot easier to let them slide when they don't make a solid defensive play. You know what I mean? And then you leave your goalie out to dry. And for so many years, Lundqvist was amazing in how much he could handle that and cover up flaws and stuff. But as he's getting older and the defense in front of him is getting weaker and weaker, some of that gets exposed. And so, yes, there's an accountability thing that Quinn's going to be asked to sort of demonstrate. But I think also beyond that, this guy was a defenseman, and defense is something that he takes very seriously, near and dear to his heart. So I think the Rangers, probably the first thing that they're going to do is try and be a little bit more defensively responsible. And then, and see where it goes from there. Give Lundqvist a little bit more help and see if that makes you a better team.
All right, one last question. We've had a few hockey guys on since we started here back in March, and we always ask this question. Chad and I are big Islander guys. With everything that happened today,
no, he already said it.
Right.
Colin's my favorite guest ever. Okay. He already said it.
Okay.
And he said that we're getting Kovac. And he said we're getting Kovac.
I only told you he was coming on 2 hours ago. So my question is, with everything that happened today with the Islanders, firing Snow and Wade and just reassigning them, what are the odds that John Tavares returns?
Oh wow!
In your opinion, right? In your opinion,
yeah. No, I think they're good. I think I think they're probably never any worse than 50-50. Because just knowing, the kind of guy that John is, he's a loyal guy. He's an understated guy. I don't think he wants to go into a place where he's going to be, the savior or whatever. I think he's comfortable on Long Island. And I think that the team's not that far away. If you look at the pieces that they have with, Barzal and Anders Lee and some of these other guys, I mean, they don't need too much. And I think, for Tavares, it's a thing where if you leave now, you could be leaving them at a time when they're poised to do something big, especially now that they have Lamoriello calling the shots, right? So I think it always was never worse than 50-50, and now I think it's much better than 50-50 that he would stay. I actually, thought it would have made great sense for him to go to the Rangers, but I never really believed that it's something that he would seriously consider, and I think that I'd say maybe 75-25 that he'll stay, or come back, I should say.
Okay.
That'd be my best gut guess, I guess.
Well, you just got a new reader for life now, if that actually happens. No matter what team you're following, Chad will read everything you write.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you
excited.
just
I'm excited. I can't wait.
I mean, this is as excited as Chad gets, so you have to know Chad a little bit to understand that his excitement is everybody else's regular.
Well,
So
the other thing is, you got to look at when you're getting me to ask me the question. If I asked somebody this question 3 weeks ago, the answer might have been different.
Doesn't matter.
3 or 4 weeks ago, I might have said 50-50, But, no, I think it's definitely more tilted in Islanders' favor to hold on to him now.
we live in the moment here. If Andrew Gross, though, and in like 10 minutes gives it like 100% he's coming back, then you're right off the shelf.
Oh,
So, you got to tell Andrew before he comes on, say 70% and you'll be good.
No, he's in the inner circle now. He's in. I'm all in with Colin.
All right, well, Colin, Colin, you're the first reporter that could actually tweet that he really likes Paulie D and Vinny from Jersey Shore.
Well, who doesn't like Paulie D, though, right? I mean,
Love
come on.
Paulie. Love Paulie.
He's the only one I do like.
Love Paulie.
Colin, being from Jersey, I don't like any of those people.
Oh, come on. You know what? I had Jersey Shore house many years myself. And, we used to watch it. And, I know those guys.
Well, yeah, but
yeah.
Oh, trust me, I grew up with them. Yeah, we called them guineas when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Colin, are you telling me you're fist pumping at Karma?
Well, not at Karma, but I've spent some time in Seaside.
Yes, you have. So have I.
Nice.
So have I.
Colin, listen, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about some Rangers hockey, and we look forward to having you on again in the near future. All right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, too. It sounds like a lot more fun. I had a lot of fun tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Colin.
Thank you.
Okay, take care, guys.
All right. That was Colin Stephenson, Rangers beat writer for Newsday. Check out all his stuff, especially as we get closer to the draft. Free agency, I think, starts July 1st.